My name is Katie, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick in Adobe Illustrator on how to make geometric designs and have your corners of all these shapes match up very nicely and give you a clean, finished look. Now, I did this a couple months ago, and it was my first time trying this, and it was kind of a pain because I thought it would be easy seeing all of these designs recently on websites, t-shirts, pants, whatever, of these really nice crystal and geometric shapes and colors and designs. Turned out it was not as easy as you'd think, because in these programs, unlike drawing on a paper with a pen, when you have lines touching, they're not actually touching sometimes. And so when you try to fill them with color, you end up with these really weird shapes, and it does not work out well sometimes. But Illustrator has some pretty cool tools that makes this process a little bit easier, and I'm going to show you those today. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, I'm going to choose a design that will work for our project. Now, you can use anything. You can draw your own, scan it in, use it as a template. I just went on Google, looked up some crystals, found this one. It'll do the job. When you have to add a photo like this to Illustrator, you go up to File and you go Place. Now I've already placed it, and so I don't have to do it anymore. But when you do that, it opens up a browse window. You look for your image, you place it, and then you can resize it, adjust it, do whatever you need. Now mine's down here, it's in layer 1. Photoshop and Illustrator have layers, and they work very well. Illustrators are a little bit different. I haven't quite figured them out yet, but they do the job for what we're going to do here. So layer 1 is our image. It's visible and it's locked. It means that I cannot move it. If I go on here and I try to adjust it, it's not going to go anywhere. And that's what we want because we're using it as a template, not as a part of the drawing. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a new layer on top of it. And that's going to be my layer 6 because I've done some other work that I'm going to show you in a little bit. So in this layer, it's going to be visible, unlocked, and we're just going to go from there. We're going to use the pen tool. Photoshop and Illustrator both have this tool. They work slightly differently, so you just got to experiment a little bit. Coming from using Photoshop, it was very frustrating to use some of these tools. So you just have to look up some tricks, some tools, some tutorials, and it'll start making a little bit more sense as you work on it. This one will be very easy because all we're going to do is do straight lines and shapes. So we're going to use our pen tool, and we can zoom in a little bit, move around, zoom back out. And we're going to start in one spot and then end in that same place to make one closed shape. And that's very important because if you have an open shape, you cannot fill it with a color. And so Illustrator is very, very picky about that. So that's what we're going to start with. So I have my pen tool. I have no fill color. That means it won't be filled in with anything. My stroke color, my line color, is this blue. If you want to adjust it, change it, you can do that, but I'm going to leave it as is. Choose a color that is contrasting to what's there so you can see what's going on. We want to have this little toolbar right here called stroke. It might be somewhere else on your screen, but it's these 3 lines on top of each other. This gives you options. It says how thick is your line going to be. I'm going to make mine pretty big. It's going to be 5 point. What is the end of the line going to look like? It's going to be round because it gives it a nice finished look. And hopefully the corners are a little bit more round than they are sharp. So that's how we're going to start it off. Hide that away. Start off in one spot. Click. Click. And just keep going around. Use some creative choices. See if you don't like something, you can change it. You know, you don't have to go exactly with what the image has. Just go straight lines. Don't drag them. Just point and click. Okay, so I already did this earlier, so I'm going to switch over to that tab, that layer. This is my outline. So as you can see, I did a few choices that are a little bit different, but that's okay. That is one closed shape, and that's exactly what we wanted. Next, we're going to go on the inside. And for the inside, we want to make lots of small closed shapes. So on the inside, we're going to take our pen tool and make our line a little bit smaller. We're going to zoom in a little bit closer, and we're going to start. We're going to make a new layer, and then we're going to start. Before you start, lock that outline layer so you don't accidentally do something to those lines. Now nothing can happen to them. They're locked in place. Excuse me. So I'm going to start here, go down, go up. And when you see that little circle, that means it's closed. And that's what you want. You want a closed shape. So now when you start again, it's a new shape. Now notice that I'm not touching that other shape. I don't want those corners touching yet. That's going to be for later. So you got to be very careful not to touch the other shapes while you're working. And you can always go a little bit farther away because you can move it later. It's all very adjustable, and that's what's great about Photoshop and Illustrator, is that you can always adjust your lines or get rid of them or do whatever you need to do. Excuse me. I'm not feeling very good. Okay. So I've already done this too. I'm going to hide that one away, and I'm going to show you my finished one. Notice that all of these corners aren't touching. These lines are not touching. Everything's kind of giving a little bit of space. So when I hide my first layer, that image, get a better idea of what's going on. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to make those corners touch and connect and look very, very clean like they did in this Alaska drawing and in this logo that I helped a friend make. Alright, so I'll see you in a bit.